Welcome to Empowered Women series. This is where we are trying to get more women into positions of power so that we can create true gender equality in this world. So in this process, we talk to women who impress us, who influence us, and share their stories with the rest of the world. And today we have Fran Sharp with us. Fran, can you just say a teeny bit about yourself?
Okay. Hi. So, obviously, I'm Fran, and I have been at Bloomberg for like 28 years. But before that, I worked for radiations. I was a special ed teacher. I've had, I look at our interns coming in now and realize that when I did an internship, I stacked styrofoam cups. I don't think they're actually legal anymore. So people have come a long way. I've come a long way from styrofoam cups. But I'm at Bloomberg. I've had multiple jobs there. Mike Bloomberg told me when I started, he said, "Why do you leave a job?" And I said that, and this is true, I think, for a lot of people, I get bored. I don't like to do the same thing over and over again. So I don't like repetitive type of things. So, and if I get good at something, then I'm bored and I want to do something else. Yeah. So right now I manage our contingent workers and our contractors. We have about 900 globally. And these are all the people, the non-employees, the people you bring in for special projects, unique skills, different types of things, anything from a photographer to a stringer to a makeup artist to someone, who has a specific programming skill. But I've been in media, I've been in radio, I've been in marketing. I've just, every time at Bloomberg, and this is what Mike had told me in the beginning, that I got bored, I just went, okay, what can I do next? And the one thing I will tell people is I never went into a job that I thought I was really qualified for. It's just, I always wanted to go into a job where I could learn and I could sort of reinvent and do something new. And to me, that's what keeps me sort of excited and engaged, is always doing something new and trying to find out those solutions. I'm a solutions person.
Yeah.
Somebody has a problem, I want to find a solution to it. And, people say that, some people are out of the box. Yeah, I'm in a different planet because I just don't believe that you can, people I think tend to think very, sort of, think of a box. If you look at a box, I look at a box and I go, I can put index cards in here. I can put pencils in here. I can store my receipts. Give a box to a child and they're going to build a fort. They're going to build a hat, and they're going to turn it into just a wonderful home for a turtle. I mean, they're going to do all these things with it because they haven't been forced into that box yet. And that's how I think you have to think about things. And that's why I think I'm able to come up with solutions, because I start out with the premise that I can do it. And then I try and find all the reasons I can do it. A lot of people start out with the premise, we can't do that.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I have heard legions from that, there's a saying at Bloomberg that if you can't do something, then you have to ask Fran and she'll tell you how to do it. And
I always tell people, I may not know how to do it, but I know who to find to help you do it. And that's part of it, is creating a network. And I think that's something that women need to do a better job of, is creating that network. And the part of being a network is you're part of that network. So if I come to you for help, at some point you might come to me for help because you have expertise that I don't have. But you empower all those people around you. And sometimes empowering people is a question of getting them, I want to say, to buy into the idea. And you are often pleasantly surprised because they have a new take on this. And you go, wow, I didn't think about that. And in Bloomberg, we're in an open environment. Right now, we're in a closed environment. But you can just stand up at your desk and go, I'm having trouble with this. And someone will say, oh, I just did something on that, or let me help you with that. But you have to, it's no different than friendships. You have to be a friend to have a friend. So
also the vulnerability of asking for help, it needs to come from organizations culture. And I have heard a lot about your brownies also.
Well, okay. I would tell you the recipe, but then I'd have to bury you in the backyard. So, so one of the things, actually, I'll give credit again to Mike Bloomberg. So in his book, he goes, a slice of pizza goes a long way. So, if you get people together in a room and they'll talk to each other, but if you get them together around a pizza box, the conversation gets better because people like to be fed. So my brownies have 8 different kinds of chocolate, including, chocolate from Maine, from Stonewall Kitchen, and, chocolate chips. And then because they don't have enough chocolate in them, I ice them as well. But I started this years ago, and it was like when I needed to get something done, I needed 10 computers to be delivered somewhere. And I had made brownies one day, and the guy in our tech department said, "Boy, we haven't had Fran's brownies in a long time." And the next day, I showed up with brownies, and I got the computers in the afternoon. I mean, it was that fast. So now it's sort of a running joke. It's sort of that, what do I need to do to get this done? And I go, well, there could be brownies in your future. So try not to overdo it. You don't want to overfeed the natives, but but you know what? It's just a question of, I like to remember people's birthdays. I like to remember different types of things that are going on. People like to be remembered, and I think today in the pandemic society that we're in, it's important to reach out to people that people you care about. I reach out. We have virtual coffees where we have coffee with somebody, and we have an internal video system. And it's important to reach out and say, how are you doing? Someone's living in a 400 square foot apartment in New York City by themselves. And they really, they really appreciate the fact that you took the time to say, hey, what's up? What are you doing? Someone just sent me a card, which really touched me, because she just said, you were the only person that reached out to me. And then I made myself reach out to other people. But we set up this, we have it actually set up called virtual coffee. And we have dozens of people on this. And we put people in random pairs on a Monday. And then the first person in the pair sets up the first coffee. But you can't talk about work. You can talk about where you went to school. Do you have a favorite recipe? Do you have a pet? What is it that you miss the most? If you could only eat something, one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Pretzels seems to be a big answer. I don't know why. But, the kind of things that, what is it? Where's the first place you want to go when you finally get out of this house? All those kinds of things. But just having a conversation with people. I had a conversation with someone the other day that I knew her in passing. I probably walk by her 10 times a day. But I didn't know that she lived in Israel. And the reason that they came back, she worked in Israel for 9 years. The reason she came back is she has a daughter who's dyslexic, and they didn't have good schools to get American, training over there. So they came back. It's sort of, you don't know people's lives. You don't know what people are going through. I've also met a lot of pets. Do you know that the animal shelters are doing very well because people are adopting pets because they want, people want companionship. So the answer is, whether it's a brownie or it's a cupcake or it's something, it goes a long way. It makes people know that you do care. And I genuinely do care.
Yeah.
You can't do it if you don't mean it.
Yeah, and and as women, we do have nurturing nature. And why work against that nurturing nature? Why not use it to be better leaders? And you just do it naturally, but it's a strategic point. Like, why not use our natural nature to be better leaders?
There used to be something way before the internet and way before cell phones and iPads called a Franklin planner. And it was a big notebook. And they would train you how to use it, to write in your appointments and all of that. One of the things that they did in the training was to write down something about the person you just met with. So if you would go, so next week I had a follow-up meeting with somebody, But he told me that he was leaving early on Friday, couldn't meet with me on Friday, could we meet on Thursday because his daughter was getting married on Sunday. So when I met with him the following week, I had written this down in my Franklin planner. And I said, how was your daughter's wedding? Tell me about the wedding. He goes, oh, let me show you a picture of me walking her down the aisle. And just, first of all, as I said, I'm genuinely interested in people, but it changed the whole nature of the conversation because you remembered something about them. I checked with a woman this morning because when I talked to her 2 days ago, her puppy had to go into the vet. So I said, I'm checking on you, but I want to know how the puppy's doing. Good news is the puppy's fine.
That's nice.
But if you care about people, they'll care about you. I think that's really important is you learn things about people and you want to learn that commonality. And I bet that most people would be surprised to know that they have things in common with people they thought they never have anybody in common. So one of the things, and it's one of your next things, is sort of, mentoring. We do a lot of mentoring. And I always start with mentees and make them write down lists of what they like and what they don't like. But sometimes you get a mentee that you're like, this person and I have nothing in common. We painted a high school in the Bronx, Thomas Jefferson High School. And they paired me up with a 16-year-old girl from sort of an inner city type of home. And first thing she did was told me I didn't know how to paint. My lines weren't straight and I was, put too much paint. I was like, get away from me. But, and she talked about her family and we talked about a little bit. Well, she went on, it's a group called Public Color. She went on to college. She and I painted like 3 high schools and we did a community center. She went to college. She asked if I would be her mentor in college. And I went, sure, why not? Well, she and I today are friends. I'm so proud of her. First person out of 8 kids to go to college in her family. And not only did she graduate from college, but she's now in a master's program at Hunter.
Wow.
Worked for 2 years. And this is truly somebody who came from what I guess you'd call the projects. And what would a middle class, white girl from Kansas City, Missouri have in common, with an African American, girl from a project? And you know what? We like some of the same books. We like some of the same food, but we've become friends. And now I've got her mentoring some other people. And I don't know, that kind of thing makes me feel good because that's the whole idea of the sort of pay it forward, have people do other things, do something for somebody else.
Yeah. In a lot of your, I know, a lot of these things that you're talking about, whether it's Brownies, whether it's your, mentorship model of pay it forward and all those things, a lot of these things come from your own nature of caring for people. Does some of it come from your organization? Like, because you have told me that Mike Bloomberg says that people are our number 1 product.
I think it's, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead. That's it. Yeah. You know what I'm asking.
Well, I think what I like about Bloomberg is it was the right place for me. My personality fit in here. I've worked places before. I actually had a boss once who told me that my problem was that I did too much for other people. And she thought that was a problem. Yeah. People are funny. People are just, funny the way they are. But Bloomberg has allowed me to, to not only succeed from a job standpoint and also to move every time I got bored. As I said, I've had like 8 different jobs. But it's also, I do volunteerism. I'm very active with Ronald McDonald House. Last year I got the Hero for Hope Award for 25 years worth of service.
Wow.
And it was really cool because everybody, there were 3 people honored for the year, and people stood up and, talked a lot about themselves and everything like that. And I just told a story. And I said, why do you keep doing this? And I said, well, I used to be the cupcake and brownie lady because I would bake for the house. and bake for a lot. I mean, it's a big house. They have 90 rooms. And I would, have the kids bake with me or ice cupcakes, cookies. So we had a little boy, and he had 3 cupcakes, and 2 of them had just way too much icing on them. They had icing, and they had M&Ms, and they had jelly beans and everything. And the third one didn't have any icing on it. And I said to the little boy, I said, do we want to ice, the third cupcake? And he said, well, the pink one's for my mom, and the green one's for my sister. And that one is just like me. It doesn't have any hair because it's sick.
Oh.
And I went, but it's such a beautiful cupcake. And when I think of, I feel so lucky that, that not only do I get to do this, but Bloomberg has sponsored this as well, sponsored Ronald McDonald House. And, right now, during all the pandemic, we can't go there, but our catering company is supplying dinners at least once a week for all the families, for 90 families. And then we have canceled a lot of the company functions. We have a summer picnic for 12,000 of your closest friends on Randall's Island. And we've taken all the money from that. We're not having a picnic, and we're giving it to all these charities. So I'm working for a company that I share the ideas with,
That is true. It's a perfect marriage,
Yeah. It's not always perfect, but, it's...
It's a marriage.
You're right. I think everybody's learning, that we love our significant others, but 24/7. Get away from me.
I have found it very useful to use your model of to get general clarity about yourself. The self-exploration tool that you taught me, things that I like and things that I dislike, because everyone is looking for doing the job that they love. And many people, most of us don't know what is it that you love. So tell us more about that tool.
So when I do a lot of mentoring, and then even with friends, is I always tell people, and old fashioned, I say, write it down. Don't put it on your iPad. Don't put it in your phone. Write it down. Take a piece of paper and write it down, and make 2 columns and put the things that you love to do, the things that every day makes you happy. I like being in the fresh air. I like, taking walks, or, I like getting organized. I like doing whatever it is. And the things that you don't like. Like for myself, I don't like repetitive jobs. I think I would be a terrible bank teller. I'd just be like, here, take your money. I couldn't, it just wouldn't do anything for me. I wouldn't want to get up in the morning and go to work. But if people take that and then you look at it and it starts to sink in, and every person, practically every person, I would say every person has used it, and they come back and they go, you're right. Or else I said, well, as you do something today, add it to your list. So get a little note card and just start writing it down. And then when you're looking to evaluate, you want to make a new job, you want to change within your job, what do you like? It also helps you communicate that. When someone comes in and interviews for a job, I'm good with people. Yeah. I'm a people person. Well, but if you can say, I like to solve problems. I'm the person who likes to look at a big picture, but I also like to roll up my sleeves and actually be part of the solution. I don't do well on committees. When I was on the Heart Association gala one year, and they spent 2 hours deciding what color pink the invitation should be. I don't care. But if you send me into that room and say, let's create flower bouquets, in reds to accent the table. Just give me a bowl and some flowers, and I'll do it. I want to be part of it. Like Ronald McDonald House, I don't want to go to a dinner and give X amount of dollars. I want to serve the kids. I want to decorate cupcakes. I want to be there in the spring when we're planting flowers, and all these kinds of things, because that does it for me. That's what makes, sort of me feel good. But make a list, get a piece of paper and write it down. And you'll look at that list and you'll think about it. And when you're looking for something else in your life, go towards the things that you like. That will make you happy.
Just thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing in all the things that you are saying. One is obviously, that extremely simple tool, but it's such a important framework for decision making or understanding yourself. Just 2 columns of what you love and what you don't love. And the thing that you were talking about, nonprofits, yes, I have seen those scenarios also, and where where there are just way too many thinkers, not enough doers. And because nonprofits always have limited resources, they need equal of both. So we can't just sit and, all of us can't sit and think what color pink.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to put those flowers together.
Someone needs to put flowers together. Someone needs to serve meals at Ronald McDonald House. There's an art to putting just the right amount of mac and cheese on that plate. We also have people standing around. So when someone's got a child in one arm and a plate in the other, we have people who walk up to them and go, "Let me help you. Let me hold that plate for you. What would you like? Do you want a roll? Do you want a piece of chicken? And the other thing that we did for Ronald McDonald House is the first time that we started doing the meal service, has been over, quite a few years now. They had hamburgers and hot dogs, and I threw a little bit of a temper tantrum to her. I said, "Never again. We have to serve healthy meals." And now the house looks forward to our meals because we don't do pizza and we don't do, fried chicken, but we're there doing salmon and vegetables and carrot sticks and fruit. And yes, we still do cupcakes, but our meals are things that people look forward to because we want to make sure that we're giving people healthy choices that are tasty. It's not like healthy choices have to be bad, And that's been a real mission. And I've actually worked with some of the other volunteers on other nights, and we've formed groups to make sure that it's kind of you to give to the house, but let's make sure that we're doing healthy meals.
That is
these
true.
people need that,
Yeah. In nutrition goes long way than making someone feel good by eating that cupcake just for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, that cupcake is helpful only for 5 minutes that you're eating it. But if you
But it's a great 5 minutes. You got to have a cupcake.
Yeah.
but you got to have your dinner first.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
you see kids eating, different, salmon, with vegetables, and they love it because you make it, food also stimulate, you have to see it. They say, the presentation. So we work very hard at making sure that those are things that people want to see. And, you can make spaghetti out of zucchini curls. People don't realize, there's a lot of things. So you better not put this on. My husband's not, I'll tell you, my husband's not big on vegetables, so I hide them in food. So I make turkey meatloaf that I take eggplant and I take zucchini and everything, and I, cook it, and then I puree it, and then I add it to the meatloaf. He has no idea.
That's
so,
that's
so
a
that's,
big secret you have shared.
Yes, I also put it into breads and muffins and things like that. I think it's the same premise you use with children. But, he'll go, "God, this meatloaf is so moist. It's so good." And I go, "Oh, I'm glad you like it." But I don't want to spoil the magic. Yeah.
You truly are a magician, whether it's about, managing at home or managing at work, people, everything. You are a magician. So I'm going to, before I let you go, last question to share your magic. If you were to give one piece of advice to aspiring women leaders, what would that be?
Well, it's hard to give just one.
Well, yeah.
No. But what I'm saying is, you know what? Be yourself. Don't try and be like everybody else. I will, when you go in on an interview, but be interested. Do your research. Find out about a company before you come in. Find out about people. You have to be engaged. When you interview, for a job, or even when you meet people for the first time, you want to have some kind of a commonality to them. You want to have something that makes them interested. I can remember being in someone's office and I looked around and he had all these amazing horse pictures, and all of the awards were the National Arabian Society, the National, all of. So I said to him, the horse behind you, that's an amazing Arabian. That is the most gorgeous horse. And it really, truly was. And he went on and on. And the guy with me when we left said, how did you know that was an Arabian? I said, I wouldn't know a horse if it stepped on me, but everything said National Arabian Society. And obviously that's an interest of him. Be interested, find out about people. You will be pleasantly surprised, And if you go in to meet somebody for the first time, right now you can Google them, find out something about them. What if they just got an award? What if they just celebrated 50 years with the company? What if they, had something that's really unique about them? Find out, share it. People want you to be interested in them, and then they will be interested in you. And you'll meet a lot of nice people. You will.
Absolutely. Thank you. And it seems like your life mantra of, I'm sure you never had to learn it or you never had to do it intentionally, because that's your nature, that you are interested in people.
I got it from my dad. My dad would get into an elevator full of strangers. They go down 5 floors. He had a whole new friends, because my dad was interested in people. So I give that credit to my dad. I give credit for being on time to my mom, but I give my personality to my dad.
That's such a wonderful thing. And I'm thankful to both of them. And I'm very thankful to you for giving your time and sharing so much. Thank you so much, Fran. Thank you for being here, and thank you for talking to us.
I will see you in Maine.
Can't wait.
All right.
Absolutely can't wait.
Okay. Bye.